Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Behind the Lockbox. I'm your host, Stephanie Zalowski. And as you can see, we are not in my living room tonight. We are actually live at the Deal Collective event here in Mission Beach in San Diego, California. This event brings like-minded agents together to network and collaborate. And tonight, we're actually going to sit down with a few selected agents that have some pretty funny and crazy stories. We will also be walking around the event to ask agents to tell us some of the craziest things they've ever found or seen in the business. So stay tuned. This is going to be a really fun episode. And big thanks to Acropolis Development and the Middleton Group for inviting us here tonight. All right, guys, enjoy the episode. Hi, everybody. Welcome back to Behind the Lockbox. I'm Stephanie Zalowski, and today at this event, I have Donna Karen Ray with us, and she's from Compass. So you walked up and you literally said to me, you have a story that was on the news.
Yes.
Girl, okay, proceed. Tell me everything.
Yeah, absolutely. So this was during COVID time, and I had to show this home to a client. Actually, I had to preview it. So it was just me, my cash buyer. So then I set it up, and I met the agent there. And I'm like, well, you know, at that time, we're used to wearing masks.
Right, and but the listing agent was there with you.
This is the listing agent meeting me.
Okay, because you're previewing it. Okay,
So immediately when she met me outside, she's like, look, first of all, you need to wear a mask. I'm like, yeah, we're used to that. I was like, no, I mean, you need to wear a mask because there's tear gas inside the house.
Tear gas?
Tear gas. There's still tear gas. And she's like, enter at your own risk. I was like, okay.
What?
And she's like, be careful in there because there's some things that, you know, the floors isn't even, all that stuff. And I'm like, okay.
Did it look like on the outside, was there anything like happening? Was it a little terrifying to look at? Like,
no,
what
not
was there?
At that time. So the outside looked normal, right? And then later on, when I was looking at the pictures, I did see a boarded window. So I'm like, I wonder what's going on. But I knew it was a fixer, right?
Sure. So you're like, maybe somebody broke a rock in the window, like whatever, it happened.
Not a big deal.
Yeah.
And then as we proceeded to the house, she starts telling me the story. She was like, you know what? This home is for sale because the husband who owns this, the wife is my aunt, and the husband murdered my aunt. So I was like, what? Murdered. And I was like, what do you mean murdered?
Wait a minute.
Exactly.
The listing agent was related to the seller.
Yeah, so
her aunt owned it or her uncle owned it?
So the listing agent, her aunt owns a home.
Oh,
and
my God.
The aunt's husband, she then tells me, was murdered by the husband, and the husband is in jail. He's in prison.
So she's like, but go ahead, enter at your own risk, like not a big deal. It's okay. Are you joking me?
Yes. So here I am. Honestly, it's like the first rundown home I've ever shown. Prior to that, I was with a luxury team, so I'm used to showing luxury homes. So I'm like, what am I doing here? I was like, I don't belong here.
A murder house that has tear gas and who knows what else.
Even floors, like it's
was
just
there
not
like
safe.
Blood stains anywhere?
No, at least no blood stains. However, I did see some smoke. And so after that,
you did see some what?
Smoke, like smoke from the tear gas. So yes,
oh my God.
We did need the mask.
She's
right?
like, this is fresh, by the way. This all just happened like 2 hours ago. You're like, oh, okay, great.
Exactly. Well,
wow.
It was actually, I think it's been weeks after that. So then I researched it when I got home, and I couldn't believe it. There's a video, YouTube video of the police standoff. They had a standoff at that time. You can see the smoke coming out of the boarded window.
Oh,
it was broken because they had just thrown the tear gas.
You are going to need to come on the regular show so that we can actually tell the entire story. We're going to need to put we need to put this on the YouTube for sure.
Yes.
That is insane.
It's insane.
Is that the most insane story you have to date?
Yes.
Where you, and when you walked in the house, could you feel the tear gas? Like, were you starting to cry?
Immediately.
You could.
Yes, my eyes were a little watery.
Makeup's
so like,
going everywhere. You're like, oh my God.
And I've never experienced that in my life. So I'm like, is this, in my head, I'm going, is this even safe? Should I even be here?
I mean,
what am I doing here? I'm
seriously
questioning the whole thing.
And did he kill her in the house?
What's that?
Did he kill her in the house?
Yes. And I don't know if I should say what really happened when I researched it, because it's pretty brutal.
Well, I mean, it's out there, right? So what happened? Tell me what happened, girl.
Okay, so as I research it, it turns out the husband used a hammer to do it.
So this is like a crime of passion. This
Yes.
wasn't like, and
Yeah.
it wasn't a murder-suicide, so he was in jail. He's still
Right.
in jail, I'm assuming.
Yes, definitely a time
Oh
of
my
passion.
God. Well,
So it was more extreme than I even thought. And
Literally.
seeing that video, I'm like, he was in the news.
wow.
And that's how I saw the whole story. Like,
Wow. Okay, well, I mean, that's just, are you guys getting all this? I mean, that's insane. Okay.
It is.
You must come on the regular podcast so we can tell a bunch more stories. Thank you so much for sharing that
Yeah, of
today.
course.
It was so fun to see you.
nice seeing you too,
All right,
Steph.
love. Have fun at the event.
All right. Sounds
Bye,
good.
guys.
Thanks. Bye.
All right, guys, we are back with Bear Bell. I love that
Yes.
name, by
Thank
the way.
you. Thank
I
you.
always tell my parents, I'm like, my name is like so much longer, and so Cam also, everybody, our co-host Cam is sitting off to the side here. All her kids are like all B's, and I love that because it just like has a ring to it, you know? Anyway,
Yeah.
thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for
Okay,
inviting
and
me.
you're with EXP, yes?
I am,
Okay,
yes.
perfect. So I just wanted to tell all the people out there. When we chatted this morning, we were talking about a story, one in particular that you have. So I'm just going to let you rip. Go ahead.
Girl,
Hit me with it.
so to follow up on our conversation earlier.
Yeah.
I had this client, she was older, she was a widow, she was looking to downsize her home.
Okay.
Because she just didn't need the space anymore. She
Yeah.
wanted to be close to the beach, obviously, coastal somewhere. so
Sounds
she could
good
put
to
her
me.
feet in the sand.
Yeah.
And she had a daughter, one child,
Okay.
who I think was possibly trying to sabotage it because every time we come over, like, once we got the house clean, we had it professionally cleaned and everything, right?
Did she live at the house?
She would come and go at her own free will.
How old was she?
About 45. About 45.
This is like, we had another story like this where I think Griffin told us a story like that, where he basically had like there was a son that came and went, and it was actually a stepson to the seller, and he sabotaged stuff too. So anyway, keep going.
Yeah.
Keep going.
Well, I know, I can just sense that she was trying to sabotage it because.
And when you met her, was it like the vibe was off and she was
when
just
I met
like,
her, she was
ooh.
like really cool. Oh my God,
Oh.
I love you. I can't wait for you to help my mom out. You're perfect. Like she was the reason why her mom hired me actually. So yeah, exactly, exactly.
And then,
I guess she thought I couldn't get the job done, but
she's like, yeah, you look like you can't get the job done. I'll hire you. You're like, oh honey, if you only knew. Anyway.
So we're hosting open houses. Everybody understand the assignment. No smoking. Keep the house clean. Keep it presentable. We need it for when the buyers walk through.
Of course.
They can see themselves living
Of
there,
course.
right? So
And it wasn't like a vacant in stage. They were living there.
They
so
were
like
living
they
there.
were, the mom
And-
was keeping everything tidy. Was it a fixer? Was it an older
it did
home?
need some TLC. Mom
Okay.
had resided in a home for like 20 years.
Okay, so it was a little outdated. It wasn't,
It was
but
very.
it wasn't anything.
Everything
Okay.
was original. She was the original owner,
Oh,
so
wow.
everything was still original.
wow. Okay.
So, so
Oh boy.
this one particular time, we had a private showing scheduled. She knew about it. Mom approved. It was like 2-3 day notice, something like that. Like
Great.
a 2
It's
or
not
3
like
day
it's an
notice.
hour. Okay.
Everyone knew.
Yeah.
We show up and the buyers are with me. They're waiting on the outside, and I'm just like, okay, let's go in. I got my key. Open the lockbox, get the key, go in. Mom's gone supposedly.
Okay.
But I always do, just out of courtesy, I always knock before
Same.
I go in.
Because you just never know.
Just never know.
You
And
never
out of
know.
respect, I don't want to walk in and see something because
Because you know that's happened.
it happens.
Mm-hmm,
And so I walk in and I'm like, as soon as I open the door and the buyers are behind me, and it's just like, whoop,
Oh God.
big like cigarette smell, and I'm just like, oh my God, I told this girl to stop smoking
Had they
in the
been
house.
smoking and did she always smoke in the house?
Oh yeah, but Mom used to always tell her to please stop, but she didn't listen to
You
her mother.
cannot get cigarette smell out.
I can't take cigarette smell, so I was
can't
just
either.
like annoyed for like the
Oh,
umpteenth time
no.
about it.
Oh my God.
And so I walk in, I'm just like, oh my gosh. I say this out loud, and I told the vice, I'm like, I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
And in the midst of that, it's just like, I hear talking, I'm like, what's going on?
Oh, so there's people there.
Oh, it's like, you know how the circus car is? It's like a lot of people jumping out. I'm like,
A clown car and it
oh,
just keeps coming.
It just keep coming. I'm like,
No.
hello. The daughter answers, and she's like, oh, I'm so sorry. I forgot. I'm just like, what do you mean you forgot? Run out a dog, and then it's like one person, 2 people, 3 people. And I'm just like, what the heck is going on?
Were
Like,
they
you
just in
knew.
like one bedroom?
No, this was like a 4-bedroom optional. It was like a 4-bedroom home.
But were they all like just hanging out and smoking
But when
in
you first
one?
walk in, you're in the
can't
family
see.
room, so you can't see. You have to bend the corner
Oh my
just
God.
to see what's going on the other side. I didn't see. I could just smell cigarettes. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, like, you know better. And I'm talking to her like she's a child at this point. I'm like, you know better. Like,
Well, I would be so pissed because, again, you've taken the time to set up the showing. You've let them know ahead of time. Like, these are the things that we go through
taking
that
the time
people
to
don't
even
understand.
Get the house professionally clean, let alone.
And
I'm
then
just
she
like,
comes back and smokes in it after mom leaves.
Right. And this has
Oh
happened
my
multiple
God.
times. And I thought we had an understanding that we were going to do the right thing here.
No, you did not.
No. So she's like running out the house, one shoe on, one shoe off, and dog running around the street. And I'm just like, that's their problem. They'll deal
Get
with it.
out.
We have to keep, the show must go on, right?
Yes.
So I'm apologizing to the buyers, and they're just like, oh, don't worry about it. We can see past all that. I'm like, yeah, but
You're
can
like,
you smell
I
past
can't
it?
breathe. But like, okay. Oh my goodness.
We do the tour, and we walk them through the house, and they're like, okay, they can see things where they need to update and
Sure,
all this stuff.
sure.
And we get upstairs.
It gets worse.
Oh, my love, yes, it gets worse. Oh, my love. We make it to her room, and it's like worse than my 13-year-old room. At this point, keep in mind it was clean. I'm just like, in my head, I'm like thinking, oh my gosh, you just don't get it.
Honestly, so she's still living at home.
Whenever
She's
she wants.
45.
Yes,
Does she work?
absolutely not.
So she's just like living there. So of course her room's going to be filthy. Of course it's going to be a disaster.
Filthy is very politely putting it, but okay. I'm just like,
No.
I'm just in my head. It's like thinking all the things I'm gonna have to have a conversation with you
Yeah.
about after the fact,
Yes,
right?
yes.
Trying to keep the straight face and just let's go.
Everything is fine. Everything is fine.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's all going to be okay.
We
Oh
get to
my
her
God.
And my eyes make eye contact. It's a freaking bong. Like I'm talking about.
Like a big one.
Oh, it's like art. It's an art.
You know what? I mean, some of them are like they're glass. Like,
I'm
yeah.
It's blown. It's beautiful. And
Yeah.
I'm just like,
Yeah.
okay.
Could we have maybe put that in the closet?
But that's not the kicker. I look, and it's just like, okay, the easiest way to put it is Breaking Bad. I'm just like, I never seen this stuff other than obviously Breaking Bad. So I'm like,
Disgusting.
is that what I think it is? And
Is
I'm
that
just
a crack
like
pipe?
trying to like,
No.
the kind you're not making eye contact.
You're like, okay, great. We look around this room. This looks great. Okay, great. On to the next one. Just close the door.
Exactly. I'm like moving my body, right?
No.
Like, and then it's
And you're
oh,
like,
no.
no one touch anything. Nobody touch anything. Nobody sit on
Absolutely
anything.
Not. Well, the show was over after that. At this
Oh
point.
yeah, they're like, I think we got it. I think we're
done.
good.
I was just like so humiliated. I just want to get out because I'm like, I don't want to be around anything of such,
That is insane.
Girl.
Did you
later
sell
on-
it?
Huh?
Did you sell the house?
Of course. But later on that evening, guess what she had the audacity to do? Text me. Bear, did you happen to see my drugs?
Yeah, girl. I took them with
ignored
me
her.
as a prize.
I ignored her. And then I
Yeah,
get a
because
text.
also you don't want to be texting back about anything with drugs.
I'm not about to, no, I am not about to incriminate myself with any of this stuff that you have going on. Then she texts back, well, did you take it? And I'm at this point, I'm just like, do I look like I don't value something simple as breath in my body and a heartbeat? I love life, sweetheart.
I don't
not.
think that she can see that difference, though, Bear. I don't
just
think
like,
she can see that
really?
difference.
Like, girl.
That is insane.
I show up to her house the next, like, a couple of days later. She's like, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. One of my friends took it. I'm like,
You're like, yeah, the showing's in 5 minutes. Out you go.
girl. But thank God we got the job done.
Oh, of course you did.
Thank God.
She
I'm
thought
just
you
like,
wouldn't, though.
Oh my God. But she was trying to sabotage because Mom was moving to a 1-bedroom, 1-bath. She was just like, where am I going to go if Mom moves out?
She really was. And she's not getting that money in the will because her mom probably changed that around. So
Mom
Oh,
has everything.
my
So she's just like,
God.
she's in for a rude awakening. She's in for a rude
Oh, Bear,
awakening.
you need to come on the regular podcast so we can talk
Oh.
way more about this.
Girl, I
Cam will be
cannot
here
wait.
with us,
I
and that would be a
cannot.
good time.
I'm telling
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
The stories, I mean, everybody has stories when it comes to this.
I know,
It's just
I know.
it's crazy.
Which we need. That's why we started it, right? Like we wanted to tell the crazy stories and stuff we do with because people see like the reality show of it all and like the commission or like the glitz and glamour, and it's like, you don't
yeah.
even know what we deal with.
Yeah.
So thank you so
No,
much for
thank
coming
you.
on.
I appreciate you having a platform like
Yes.
this. This is amazing.
Thank you so much,
Continue
love.
blessings.
Thank you.
Yes.
All right,
Thank
we'll see you soon.
See you.
All right, guys, thanks. All right, everybody, we're back with Tiffany Tron. Ross. Hi, my love.
Hi.
It's so good to see you.
You too.
Okay, so obviously we were quoting Devil Wears Prada because who doesn't? But before that, we were chatting a little bit about the stories you had, and you have one, yes?
I do have a good one.
Okay, hit me with it.
I think it was good.
Okay.
I went on a listing appointment. I had sold the house to a client of mine.
Okay.
But he had relocated to Virginia, and he had his cousin help him rent the property out before he left. Always a good idea, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so it came time to sell the house. And so I went there to do like the normal walkthrough, right?
Sure.
I'm going to take some notes, figure out what I'm going to price it at, that sort of thing.
Is there anything that needs to be done? Does anything need to be painted or anything like that?
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
So I meet the tenants, and I immediately go in my head, don't make any judgments. It's okay, right? He's wearing like Gucci MC Hammer pants, Gucci tennis shoes. He's got a lot of bling on. He's got a couple teeth that are,
Diamonds and golds.
diamonds and gold. It's pretty cool.
All right. Okay.
And I'm
All
like,
right.
cool. So I start walking around the house, and I immediately go, oh, are you guys moving out? And they go, no. And I go, okay. So I'm looking around. There's literally no furniture in this house other than a blow-up mattress in the middle of the living room.
This sounds like the story Luke just told us last week when he was literally, anyway, continue.
So I'm thinking maybe they're minimalist.
Yeah.
That's kind of cool, right? They have a bed. That's all they need.
Right.
So we're walking around the kitchen, no dishes, no food. Okay, cool. Maybe they go out to dinner a lot. Maybe
Don't worry, he's dripping in Gucci.
Yeah. But he's decked out in Gucci, head to toe. So,
oh my
follow
God.
up, we get under contract. Oh, well, the interesting thing is he goes, we're going to need a 48-hour notice for you to show the house. And in my head, I'm thinking, why?
There's
Doesn't
no
matter.
furniture. There's
nothing
no
here,
food.
but
There's
okay,
nothing
cool.
for you to do. But okay, great. Yeah.
Cool. No problem. So I show it. I get it under contract. They were pretty cooperative.
Okay.
But we get into escrow, and it's time for us to do our home inspection.
Okay.
And so I show up with the buyer's agent
my
and
God.
the buyer and
Oh my
the
God.
inspector to do the inspection.
I'm scared.
There are 3 deadbolts on the front door that were not there when I listed the house. And so we have to call a locksmith.
I'm
This
like,
is back
okay, you
in the
obviously
day
don't have a key for that.
This is back in the day when homeowners still had some rights. And so we called the locksmith. And the locksmith came out, let us in. We go in and we immediately get a whiff of marijuana. And we're like, okay, cool. Hey, anybody home? Nobody's home.
saying anything.
We go downstairs into the bedroom, and it is a literal drug dealer setup. They have the tables, they have the scales, they have the baggies, they have the bricks, literal bricks of marijuana. They've got the pills.
Is it just marijuana? Oh no! Oh, so
no.
we've got a selection.
We have moved on from and we all just kind of looked at each other like, what the hell do we do?
Because you just kind of like walked into a crime scene like, hi, do not touch anything. Your fingerprints will be on everything.
And literally
No
started immediately
way.
thinking they're gonna kill me.
Well, it would either be
me.
that or I'd be like, my fingerprints are going to be on the door. They're going to think I'm involved. No way.
So we
immediately leave, I'm assuming.
We immediately go to the front. We call the police. They come. DEA had been stalking this house. But
so the police come while you're still there.
Yeah, while we're there.
And the tenants are not there.
The tenants are not there and never show up.
I mean, but they left all their goods.
Yeah, I know.
Not very savvy business people, if you ask me. But
so
okay.
it was a little bit of a rush.
Wow.
And the police were like, "We've got it from here." Turns out there had been like this huge DEA investigation going on
this tenant.
on this tenant. They
And the
have been
homeowner
watching
knew
him.
nothing.
No, and my sign was in the front yard for weeks. So why
Was it on the news at least? Because that's like really great advertising if it was.
But like, why didn't they reach out and just give me a heads up? They didn't.
Oh my
So
God.
the funny part is after this, I'm super paranoid. I'm like, these people are gonna kill me. I'm like, I've got tears.
Because you have literally just called the cops and got rid of all their drugs and
Yes.
outed them.
And-
but the DEA already knew who they were, so it's not like you gave any names or anything. Like they knew who
No,
they
they
were.
already knew. They
Wow.
already knew. But as a realtor, you're like, oh, my info's out there everywhere.
No, literally your face was on the sign or whatever, and they know who you are. You met him
So
that one
I'm
day.
all teary-eyed, and I'm like, I'm gonna go get a gun. I'm gonna go get a gun just so I can be safe.
For protection.
For protection.
Oh
So I
my
drive to
God.
Claremont. I go to the gun shop. I'm like, I need a gun, and he's like, I don't think you do. So
no, ma'am, you don't
I
look like the
left
candidate.
with like a $400 taser that you could like shoot
Do you
60
still have
feet. No.
oh, I was like,
But
bring it out.
was
Let's
like
take photos
it
for
had
it.
like laser point.
So you were like aimed, and you could like you could really
like,
get somebody
put
with
the
it.
laser on somebody, and it would go like
My
dark,
God,
like 60 feet.
that is amazing.
Yeah.
that is amazing. Okay,
But luckily, nothing ever came of it, and it all just
when
kind of
was
went
this?
away.
A long time ago?
And the buyer closed. They kept buying it. It was amazing.
They closed on the drug house.
They closed on it. Yeah.
Well, you know, it is what it is, right? They're like, no, this is like a really great price. Also, can we actually get a discount for it being a
Exactly.
drug house? Because like these guys
They're
might
like,
come back.
Could all of that stay with the house?
Yeah. They're like, we could make some money off that. Oh my God. Okay, you have to come on the regular podcast at some
I would
point.
love to.
I know you've got much more, to tell than this. So thank you so much for being
You're
here.
welcome. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, of
I
course.
love this show. It's amazing.
Thank
So
you,
much
my
fun.
love. Thank you so much.
Okay.
All right, guys. All right, everybody. We are back with Mike Santamero. Is that how I say it?
Yes.
That was right?
Very good.
Okay, perfect. Okay. So we actually met on the street of all places, which is kind of funny. And we were chit-chatting because you have been doing real estate for quite some time. Flips, fixers, that is what you do, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So tell me, is there one story that you can think of that was just absolutely insane? Hit me with it.
All right. This one has to be on the listing side of things.
Okay.
I had picked up a expired listing through a friend of mine. It was
Okay.
his mother.
Well,
And,
love those.
She was a little touch overpriced, so it was sitting on the market.
You don't
some,
say, because
and
it was sitting for a while. Yeah.
I was hosting open houses every week, as
Okay.
a good agent should.
Yep.
And just get through the neighborhood. And this client was kind of particular.
Okay.
And also had bought a unit in the same complex, so I was
Okay.
able to monitor and keep an eye on things.
Sure.
So one of her big pet peeves were lights being kept on after showings. I'm sure you agents can relate.
And wait, so was she living in the unit, or was this actually like a unit she was selling, but she lived somewhere else in the complex?
She lived in the complex.
Okay,
Yep.
so she could walk by and see any moment that like the lights were on
Exactly.
and you messed up already.
Exactly.
Mhm. Okay, continue.
So we went through a few of these kind of calls where she'd say, Mike, you left a light on. I could have sworn I hit everyone. But she had kind of an automated fancy house, right?
Okay.
And so I later came to find out that there was actually a light that was on a timer that was getting turned on.
So it wasn't
Right?
even you.
So it wasn't even me, right? So needless to say, I was a little concerned that, I was in jeopardizing this listing here because
Oh my God. Because
other
of a
agents
light.
kept on leaving the lights on.
Because of a light. Yeah.
And I remember I had had a couple of showings that I had booked in the week before our open house. And I get a call from the client, and she goes, who was the one to last show the house? Kind of roll my eyes. I'm like, okay, here we go. Like, what happened now? She's like, they left all the lights on. The toilet seat was up. There's pee all over the toilet. It's disgusting. I've been in there cleaning for like 30 minutes. Like, what's going on?
No way.
So I'm like looking through my showing time. I'm figuring out who the last people were. There were a couple of prospects, and luckily I was navigating a couple of different escrows, and
Yes.
I didn't call them right out the gate.
Right.
And I ended up getting a call from my friend who had referred his mother to me.
Okay.
And he goes, hey, Mike, I got to tell you, it was me that was in the apartment. Don't call it the other agent. My
was
mom
me.
flipped out.
Don't freak out. I'm so sorry. I got you in trouble with my mom. Are you joking?
Right after getting off the phone with him, I immediately got a call from the mom, and she goes, Mike, I hope you didn't call the agent yet. It was
She
Billy.
was like apologizing.
She was apologizing.
profusely.
She was all,
First of all, can she train her son how to
it
use
was a pretty
toilet?
ridiculous
Like,
kind
let's
of
talk about
circumstance.
that.
But I'm sure
Wow.
as an agent you can relate. You're never in control of how other agents conduct themselves when they're in a house. So
You're not. And it's one of those things too where like there are times where I always do the showings depending on the client, but then when it's a condo, or like I have one right now that's vacant and staged, right? So I'm like, I tell the agent, I beg them, I'm like, please, when you're done, turn off all the lights, lock the door, because I have to go over there every other day to check on it anyway, but my clients are not, going to be upset if like a light was left on. So, it happens. It happens.
Yeah,
so.
let this be a lesson to all agents out there. Make sure you turn off the lights.
And maybe hit the toilet when you use the restroom. You know what I mean? Anyway.
Please don't use the restroom
Please
in our
don't
listings.
use the restroom in the listings. Yeah. Mike, thank you so much for being here.
Yeah,
We need to have you on
appreciate
the
it.
regular podcast. I know you've got more stories to tell us, so we will definitely have you on the regular show.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Love what you're doing. Thanks for having me
Awesome.
on.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right, guys. All right, guys. We are back with Casey Martin from EXP. Good to see you.
Good to see you
We
too.
were just chatting when you walked in because I was like, haven't we done a deal together? And then no, sadly, we hadn't.
We tried
because
hard.
We
There
tried
was
hard.
Yeah, you had a great listing up there in Fire Mountain.
Yes.
And I was
Yep.
stalking you and calling you continuously to try to get in on it, but
Yeah.
didn't work out. But
I know.
We'll do the next one.
We will do the next one. So, and actually, I saw you at Reba, but I lost you when you were there pitching 2 weeks ago. I
Oh,
think
yeah.
it was. So,
Yeah,
and
Reba.
after I ran off, but I wanted to say hi. So I'm glad to see you tonight.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thanks.
So when you walked up, I said to you, tell me one story of something crazy you have found or that's happened. You didn't even give me a hint of what it's going to be. So hit me with it.
Okay, so I do have a good one for this.
Okay.
We were representing a buyer who was a
Okay.
good friend of mine. And for those of you that don't know, I was a firefighter for 17 years. So this was one of my fire department clients. And
Okay.
got him this cute little place in South Park.
Oh,
Butts
great.
up to a canyon.
Amazing
Nice
location.
little spot. It
Yeah.
has this downstairs unit. So we're about to close on this thing. And we're about 5 days out from closing. And all of a sudden there's a broken window. And we're like, downstairs in this little unit.
So was the house vacant and like on lockbox?
vacant.
Okay.
It'd been
So nobody
vacant
lived
for,
there.
2-3 months. Them
Okay.
trying to sell it.
Okay.
So we finally got most of the way through escrow, ended up with a broken window. So we're like, oh, that sucks. We had the selling agent, the sellers pay for it, of
Okay.
course, get it replaced, dual
Right.
pane windows.
Right.
Everything's good to go. They love it.
And was this a property that needed work, or was it mostly redone?
No, it was already done. It
Okay.
was
Okay.
ready to go, but need a little bit of work, but nothing major.
Right, right.
It was turnkey.
Yeah.
So they dealt with the broken window. We thought nothing of it. And then the next day, I handed over the keys to my client, and he's like, oh, yeah, I'm going to bring my wife over there. We got some girlfriends coming in to see the house, too, from Arizona.
Great.
And we're so excited, blah, blah, blah. So next day comes, and I get this frantic phone call from my client. He's like, you're not going to believe this story. I'm like,
No.
what happened? He says, well, we see a broken window again. And
Was it the same window as before?
same window is broken again.
What the heck?
And I'm there with my wife, and I start walking in downstairs, and this guy comes out looking like
Homeless.
just like enough put together where you're like, okay,
Is he
he's
homeless? Is he not?
or is he not?
Is he just
And
like
so
a
he confronts this
drifter?
guy, and he
No.
says he's like, what are you doing here? And he's like, oh, well, this house is for sale. He's like, I'm checking it out to buy it.
And he's like,
And he's like, well, there's no way you could get in here without breaking the window. So clearly,
an
like,
agent. If you're not an agent, how did
you're
you
not
get
an
in here?
agent.
Yeah.
Like, what's
Yeah.
going on here? And so the guy starts like puffing up a little bit, and he looked like he's going to make a run for the door. And my client, being a pretty resourceful dude,
yeah.
he sees this like stick thing sitting by the front door. And so he goes, you need to stay here till the cops come. And his wife jumps on the phone with PD. So
Oh
now
my
like PD's
God.
around, she's taking a report, and my client and buddy is like pinning this guy
To the the wall or the
in-
ground,
yeah,
basically.
like in the unit downstairs.
Yeah,
So there's
like
only one
keeping
door out of
him-
this unit
right,
downstairs.
right.
So he's got a pin closed, and he's got this mass looking stick, and he's holding this guy, and he's trying to press out. He's like, no, you need to stay here till PD comes.
Oh my God. Because clearly,
so-
if it was a broken window, it was probably the same guy. He's
Yeah.
for sure squatting in the unit.
So they figured out pretty quickly that this guy shouldn't be there, that he
Right.
broke the window, and he
Right.
broke the window before. And so they want PD to come and handle the situation. But
Right.
as you know, it takes a while to get PD there.
Yes.
So they're waiting. And in the meantime, like there's a struggle back and forth, where he's trying to bust out of the door.
And he had a friend there with him, luckily, right?
what
He
was
had a
that?
friend there with him, right? He wasn't there by himself.
He was there with his wife.
So he's the only one pinning this guy down.
Yes, he's like pinning this guy in,
Oh my God.
from escaping from the house.
Oh my
so
God.
finally, the guy has enough leverage to like get past my buddy,
Yeah.
and so my buddy's like, I'm gonna have to beat you down with this stick if you come out.
Oh my God.
So he grabs this thing like a full-on javelin,
yeah.
boom,
Yeah.
right into his chest.
That is
Knocks the guy
terrifying.
back on his butt, and then continues to pin him. He's like, you're not going anywhere. And now he's starting to feel bad because his wife's like, don't hurt the guy. Like, he's probably crazy. Like,
Well, and that's the thing is
don't
like
hurt
that
him
can
too
go
bad.
that can
It can
turn
go
scary really
sideways,
quick.
right?
Yes.
So he's like, okay.
Yes.
So then the guy like forcefully kind of makes his way out and makes a run for it. And so my buddy grabs this same stick that he still has.
Thank God he found the stick at the house.
And he whips it at him like a nunchuck. He whips it at him, and he literally like trips, falls into the canyon, and is like sliding down the hill. And his wife's like, "Stop, Eric, stop," because he's afraid like he's gonna like beat this dude up.
Yeah.
So he like lays off of him again, and he's like, "All right, I'm not gonna be able to catch up with this dude." Guy runs down to the canyon, and just then PD is arriving.
Oh my God.
So PD arrives with the dogs and the
And they're
whole
like,
thing.
they're in the canyon, so
And
they
they're
go
like,
into the
"He's right
canyon."
there in the canyon, and so they start yelling at him like, "Look, we're gonna sick the dogs on you if you don't come out." So the guy eventually ends up coming up out of the canyon.
Well, thank God
And
he
in the
didn't get very
meantime,
far.
like the girlfriends who he had never met that were like friends of his wife.
Of his wife are like,
He'd never
"What?"
met him. Like,
They're
oh
like,
yeah,
"What
like
is
great
happening?"
introduction. Like, what is happening? There's like 5 PD cars. They're cuffing this guy, taking
Oh
him
my
downtown. So
God. I mean, you just can't make this stuff up. You
You
know what I
cannot
mean?
make it up.
And the scary part is like there have been stories in California where homeless people have squatted and then you can't get them out. So
100%.
that's,
Yeah.
that's for another day. But anyway, okay, we have to have you on the regular podcast so that we can tell more of these stories.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
there's actually a follow-up to this one that's just as funny with the same client.
Okay, you're coming on very soon, very soon. Casey, thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for having me.
All right, guys. See you next time. Thanks for listening. Behind the Lockbox is produced and edited by Property Showcase Group. If you like this podcast, please share it with your friends. Don't forget to subscribe, rate, or review this podcast. Thanks for your support. See you next week.